Have you ever stood in a shopping centre, looked at a massive store shutting its doors forever, and wondered why everyone is going out of business while everything you buy keeps getting more expensive? You walk past a boarded-up front that used to be a retail giant, then walk 50 metres down the corridor and find a store packed to the rafters with people fighting over a $20 bath towel. It feels like a glitch in the Matrix. You are watching established empires crumble into dust while one specific, weirdly chaotic shop opens location after location, printing money without even bothering to print a weekly catalogue. If you have ever felt that sneaking suspicion that retail is playing a rigged game where the rules make zero sense, you are not crazy. You are just paying attention to a crime scene corporate executives are desperately trying to cover up. By the time we finish this investigation, you will understand the secret mechanism that allowed one chain to quietly conquer the market while the rest went bankrupt. Why the store layout that looks like a tornado hit a warehouse is actually a ruthless psychological trap, and how traditional department stores spent billions engineering their own destruction. We will crack open the global pipeline that feeds these shelves, expose the industry lie that e-commerce killed physical retail, and show you how to manipulate their system so you never overpay for premium goods again. And stick around, because the single most counterintuitive thing this company refuses to do, a missing feature every business school says is mandatory for survival, will completely change how you look at every shop taking your money today. To understand how we got here, we have to look at how retail was actually designed to work. For 50 years, department stores ran on a ridiculously comfortable, predictable formula. A buyer sat in a corporate office in June, looked at a catalogue, and placed a massive purchase order for winter coats arriving in September. The price tag was marked up to an absurd level because the store knew a fundamental truth about human nature. They only needed to sell 20% of those coats at full price to cover costs. The remaining 80% could sit on racks until November, get slashed by 40%, and still make a healthy profit while making you feel like a master negotiator. It was a brilliant system built on captive audiences and high foot traffic in suburban malls. But then the landscape shifted. The moment consumers gained endless choices and instant price comparison, that artificial markup structure collapsed. Instead of adapting their actual business operations, traditional retailers panicked. They started pouring hundreds of millions of dollars into flashy loyalty points programs, printing paper flyers that went straight into the recycling bin, and building expensive online stores that cost more to ship goods from than the products were worth. They tried to fix a broken operational core by slapping a digital coat of paint over the top, hoping you would not notice that the core offering was completely dead. When a store stocks the exact same inventory in October that it advertised in June, there is zero reason to visit today instead of next month. And when next month quietly turns into never, executive boards hold emergency meetings and blame the internet. But technology did not murder these companies. They committed corporate suicide through absolute rigidity. They built massive, slow-moving supply chains designed for a world where customers had nowhere else to go. They got hooked on predictable schedules and massive overheads, treating the shopper like a captive ATM rather than someone with a smartphone in hand. While those giants were busy digging their own graves, a completely different retail machine was quietly operating under rules that sounded like madness to traditional executives. They refused to build a proper online store, refused to offer price matching, and told loyalty points to get stuffed. Instead of fighting the chaos of global supply chain overruns, they built a financial empire designed to feed on it. To see how that engine runs, we have to stop looking at them as a simple discount shop and look at the hidden global pipeline turning another retailer's catastrophic mistake into your weekend treasure hunt. To see how this slaughter unfolded on local soil, look at the graveyard of Australian retail. Between 2015 and 2025, shopping centres turned into a crime scene. Names that felt like permanent fixtures evaporated. Target Australia collapsed into a shell of its former self, closing or converting over 100 stores after catastrophic inventory missteps. Harris Scarfe went into voluntary administration, leaving suppliers stranded and shoppers baffled. Godfrey's, a vacuum cleaner empire that lasted nearly a century, shuttered stores nationwide. Dick Smith burned through millions in private equity cash before collapsing under a mountain of worthless private label stock nobody wanted. The standard explanation from corporate spin doctors is always the same. Amazon Australia killed local retail. Online shopping won, physical stores are dinosaurs, and nothing could be done. That story is comfortable for overpaid executives. It is also completely false. Amazon did not kill Dick Smith or Target Australia. Corporate incompetence, wild supply chain arrogance, and a total disconnect from what everyday shoppers wanted killed them. Amazon just held the door open while they rushed headlong into the abyss. While legacy department stores burned cash on digital transformations, TK Maxx quietly expanded across Australia, opening massive store after store in suburb after suburb. Most Aussies walk into TK Maxx thinking it is just a glorified clearance rack with brighter fluorescent lights. The place you go for a brand name frying pan for $25 while digging through 50 mismatched plastic tubs. But TK Maxx is not a discount store. It is an off-price retailer. That distinction is not clever marketing speak. It is a totally different financial and logistical machine. A standard discount shop buys basic wholesale products and sells them cheap by accepting paper-thin profit margins. Think of your local cheap shop or dollar curtains and blinds. They buy cheap goods the same way, hoping volume pays the rent. Off-price retail is a completely different monster. TK Maxx does not buy stock on standard retail schedules. They buy opportunistic inventory, overruns from European factories that produce 20,000 extra leather jackets, cancelled purchase orders from high-end department stores like David Jones or Myer that hit cash flow snags, or end-of-season designer lines needing to vanish before next quarter's range hits the floor. They purchase these huge batches at discounts between 40 and 70% below standard wholesale prices. This is not damaged stock or factory seconds. In 80% of cases, it is the exact same product sitting in a boutique in Paddington or a premium department store 6 months prior. Premium brands sell to TK Maxx because destroying surplus stock creates a massive public relations disaster, and putting a giant 60% off sign in their own flagship store window utterly destroys their premium brand image. TK Maxx acts as the quiet pressure release valve for global fashion and homewares. This entire operation is powered by a global buying engine that makes traditional Australian retail buyers look like amateurs. Through parent structure TJX companies, TK Maxx employs thousands of global buyers. These people do not sit in an open-plan Sydney office browsing supplier catalogues and booking annual trade trips to China. They live on planes and hang out in manufacturing hubs across Asia, Europe, and America. When a major Italian leather house gets stuck with thousands of cancelled handbags because an overseas department store chain went under, a TJX buyer gets the phone call on a Tuesday morning. That buyer has 48 hours to pull the trigger. There are no 6-week internal review panels, no endless corporate PowerPoint presentations, and no steering committees. If the margin math works, they buy the entire lot immediately. If you hesitate for a single afternoon, another off-price buyer takes the stock, and you explain to senior management why you missed 50,000 premium cookware sets at 20 cents on the dollar. That execution requires a corporate culture built entirely around agility rather than predictable corporate schedules. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the corporate machinery taking your hard-earned cash, hit the subscribe button right now. We have a blockbuster breakdown coming up on how Australian supermarkets manipulate price tags, and you definitely do not want to miss it. Now, let us talk about the psychological trap keeping you coming back week after week. It is called structural scarcity, and it relies on a raw feature of human behavior that behavioral scientists spend millions trying to dissect. When you walk into a standard Kmart or Big W, you know with absolute certainty that the toaster on display will be on that exact shelf next week, next month, and probably next year. There is zero urgency to purchase today. You can go home, think about it, check your bank account, compare prices online, or forget about it entirely. TK Maxx completely flips that dynamic. When a crate of premium cast iron Dutch ovens arrives at a store in Chadstone or Parramatta on a Wednesday morning, there might be 15 units on the floor by lunch. By Thursday afternoon, 4 are left. By Saturday morning, there is one solitary damaged box sitting next to a pile of plastic novelty mugs. If you walked past it on Wednesday telling yourself you would think about it over the weekend, it is gone forever. The customer who missed out experiences a genuine pang of regret, while the shopper who snagged the last one tells friends at Sunday brunch like they won an Olympic gold medal. This creates the legendary treasure hunt effect. The store visit stops feeling like a tedious weekend chore and starts feeling like an unpredictable event. You are not going in with a rigid shopping list to buy light bulbs and laundry powder. You are going in to see what landed off the container ship this morning. It transforms a mundane retail errand into a quick hit of dopamine. And here is the kicker keeping rival executives awake at night. You cannot fake this energy. You cannot send a corporate memo down to store managers telling them to create a treasure hunt vibe on a Friday afternoon if your warehouse is full of identical, mass-produced stock ordered 9 months in advance. What makes this model even more fascinating is everything this business explicitly refuses to do. In an Australian market where every single company is obsessively tracking your personal data, TK Maxx stands out by doing absolutely nothing the textbook says you must do. Look at everyday rewards at Woolworths or flybys at Coles and Target. These companies spend tens of millions of dollars operating complex digital point systems, tracking purchasing habits, and sending targeted email offers just to keep you locked into their ecosystem. TK Maxx has no loyalty program whatsoever. They do not care who you are, do not collect your phone number at the register, and do not give you points. They do not print weekly junk mail catalogues to drop into suburban letterboxes across Australia. While Coles, Woolworths and Aldi spend absolute fortunes printing millions of glossy paper flyers every week, TK Maxx spends virtually $0 on print media. They do not do price matching either. You cannot drag a catalogue from Myer or Big W to the register and ask them to match a competitor's discount. The price on the sticker is the final price, dictated purely by how cheaply the buying team managed to acquire the lot from a distressed supplier. And then we come to the biggest gamble of all, e-commerce. If you go to the TK Maxx Australia website, you will find a basic store locator and shiny brand marketing. You cannot buy a single shirt, towel, or skillet online. In an era where every consultant claims an online store is mandatory for retail survival, refusing to sell products online looks like absolute madness. But it is a cold, calculated financial calculation. Put yourself in their shoes. If you have thousands of individual one-off stock items hitting store floors every week in tiny quantities, photographing every single item, creating unique digital listings, managing warehouse picking, and paying Australian post-delivery fees on a $20 item destroys your profit margin instantly. By refusing to sell online, they force you into the physical building. Once you are inside, the probability of walking out with 3 extra items you never intended to buy skyrockets. Every strategic refusal protects their razor-thin operating overheads and maintains their massive structural advantage over traditional department stores drowning in digital logistics costs. To comprehend how this juggernaut steamrolled local competition, look at the global parent machine behind the curtain, TJX Companies. TJX is a retail leviathan listed on the New York Stock Exchange, generating tens of billions in annual revenue across thousands of stores worldwide, including TK Maxx in Australia, Europe and the UK, alongside TJ Maxx and Marshalls in North America. When an international apparel brand in Vietnam or India holds 200,000 surplus units after an American retail chain cancels an order, they do not call a regional Australian retailer with 50 stores. They call the TJX Global Buying Hub. TJX buys the entire global lot in one single transaction, splits the stock across container ships, and routes a portion directly to Australian shores. No domestic Australian chain can match that level of global buying power or supply chain scale. Local players like Myer, David Jones, or Big W are essentially trying to build tiny sandcastles on the beach, while a massive industrial concrete seawall operates right beside them. They were completely outmatched on price, volume, and supply chain speed from the moment TK Maxx landed in Australia. Look at what happened when foreign giants tried to enter Australia using the old playbook. Remember Target's endless attempts to brand itself as trendy off-price fashion while maintaining traditional department store overheads? It resulted in massive inventory markdowns and closed stores. Look at Harris Scarfe, which tried to rely on perpetual promotional sales and glossy catalogue drops, dragging customer expectations into a spiral where nobody bought anything unless it was 60% off. They built complicated, expensive operational structures for a customer who had already moved on. TK Maxx ignored corporate noise, kept its operating model lean, leveraged global scale, and dominated the space. Completely right. Here comes the part that made watching this far worth it. Now that you know how the corporate game is rigged, let us talk about actual brands available right here in Australian shops that give you real, uncompromising value without making you a victim of corporate greed. Because despite the wave of cheap junk flooding department store shelves, there are still manufacturers making products built to last, engineered properly, and priced honestly. First up is Tefal. When you walk into Big W, Target, or JB Hi-Fi, you see walls of cheap non-stick frying pans priced at $15. They look shiny on day one, but after 3 weeks of frying eggs, the synthetic coating starts peeling directly into your breakfast. Tefal's hard anodized pan ranges, particularly their Ingenio and Titanium lines available at Coles, Woolworths and Harris Scarfe, are absolute tanks. They use an ultra-durable ceramic and titanium substrate fused to heavyweight aluminium at extreme temperatures. Instead of warping the moment it hits a hot induction plate, a Tefal hard anodized pan maintains perfect thermal stability. You get completely even heat distribution across the surface, meaning no raw middle or burnt edges. A single 28cm frying pan retails between 40 and 70 Australian dollars depending on sales, working out to less than 5 cents a meal over a 5-year lifespan. Culinary school instructors frequently point to heavy, hard anodized cookware as the baseline standard for home cooks who refuse to replace their gear every 6 months. It is rugged, reliable, and available in practically every major shopping centre across Australia. If you want to step up to professional-grade kitchenware that lasts generations, look at Pyrex glass and Corningware stoneware, stocked at Big W, Target, and Spotlight. Traditional plastic food storage containers degrade under microwave heat, leach chemical microplastics into leftovers, and stain permanently the first time you put spaghetti bolognese in them. Pyrex uses heavy-duty tempered borosilicate glass, engineered to withstand extreme thermal shocks. You can pull a Pyrex container straight out of a cold freezer and stick it directly into a 200-degree oven without the glass cracking or splintering. At around 35 Australian dollars for a comprehensive multi-piece storage set, you pay about $3 per container. Choice Lab Testing consistently ranks tempered glass storage at the top for food safety, seal integrity, and long-term durability. You pay slightly more upfront than for disposable takeaway containers, but you buy it once and keep it for 2 decades. It is the exact antidote to disposable plastic consumer culture. When it comes to bedding and towels, the Australian retail market is saturated with synthetic polyester blends masquerading as luxury linen. Brands drop buzzwords like hotel collection or soft touch to hide the fact that you are sleeping on spun plastic that traps body heat and degrades after 5 washes. If you want genuine quality that does not require taking out a second mortgage, Sheridan Outlet and Canning Vale represent the golden standard for Australian homes. Their 100% Australian cotton sheet sets and combed cotton towels are constructed using long staple cotton fibres woven at high density. A set of genuine 400 thread count combed cotton sheets from Sheridan Outlet costs around 80 to 120 Australian dollars on sale. That breaks down to roughly 30 cents a night over a 3-year rotation. Sensory-wise, the difference is night and day. The fabric feels crisp, breathes effortlessly through humid summer nights, and actually gets softer every time you throw it through the washing machine. Independent textile experts routinely highlight long staple Australian cotton as superior in tensile strength and colour retention compared to synthetic microfiber alternatives sold at double the markup in high-end boutiques. For personal care and appliances, Philips and Remington shavers and grooming tools, widely available at Chemist Warehouse, Shaver Shop, and Good Guys, hit the exact sweet spot between industrial durability and reasonable pricing. While trendy direct-to-consumer brands flood social media with subscription blades and flimsy plastic handles, Remington's lithium-powered trimmers use self-sharpening Japanese stainless steel blades mounted on high-torque motors. A heavy-duty Remington hair clipper or groomer costs 60 to 90 Australian dollars at Chemist Warehouse. Considering a single visit to a suburban barbershop now costs $40, the unit pays for itself on its second use. The battery holds charge across months of daily use. The casing survives accidental drops onto hard bathroom tiles, and replacement guards are cheap and easy to source locally. It is simple, unpretentious, bulletproof engineering designed for real life. The pattern here is unmistakable. Genuine value is not about finding the absolute cheapest item on the shelf at an Aldi middle aisle sale or overpaying $300 for a designer logo at David Jones. It is about identifying products built with heavy materials, proven manufacturing techniques, and transparent pricing structures. When you buy from brands focusing capital on material quality rather than million-dollar influencer marketing campaigns, you pull your money out of the corporate exploitation machine completely. When standing in Big W, Target, or Chemist Warehouse trying to decide if a product is worth your money, here are 6 bulletproof rules to shop like an investigative journalist. Rule 1. Check the price per unit, not the sticker price. Australian retailers love using shrinkflation, subtly shrinking a bottle of laundry detergent from 2 litres to 1.5 litres while keeping the shelf price identical. The small unit pricing print on the bottom left of the shelf tag is the only number telling you the real story. Rule 2. Ignore buzzwords like pro-level, premium quality, or expert choice on front packaging. These are pure marketing claims with zero legal definition under Australian consumer law. Turn the box around and read the materials or ingredients list instead. Rule 3. Watch out for manufactured discount cycles. Stores like Harris Scarfe run perpetual 50% off sales, where the original recommended retail price is virtually never charged. If an item is perpetually on sale, the sale price is simply the true, full price. Rule 4. Look for heavy, dense materials in homewares and appliances. Weight is a direct indicator of thick-gauge metals, solid glass, and copper motor windings rather than cheap plastic gears. Rule 5. Skip store-brand electronics or power tools with zero repairability ratings. If a unit uses glued-shut plastic casings with proprietary screws, it is designed for the landfill the second a fuse blows. Rule 6. Stick to brands backed by independent choice lab testing or ACCC safety compliance notices rather than paid social media influencer endorsements. Ultimately, the collapse of legacy department stores was not caused by Amazon. It was caused by arrogance, rigid supply chains, and a total refusal to respect the intelligence of the Australian consumer. Off-price models succeeded because they offered genuine value, operational discipline, and structural simplicity, while legacy chains burned cash on digital gimmicks. Stop treating corporate retail like a charity and start treating your wallet like an asset that deserves respect. Thanks for sticking with me through this deep dive. If this video helped you see through the corporate spin, hit the share button and send it to a mate who still spends way too much money on full-price department store junk. Drop a comment below and let me know, which of these overhyped retail brands is sitting in your house right now? Next week, we are taking on the Australian grocery duopoly, pulling apart Woolworths and Coles' profit margins to show you exactly how price gouging works at the register. Subscribe now so you do not miss it. Vote with your wallet, demand better quality, and never pay full price for